refreshed 2027 Audi S5 is here. It's not really a facelift, but more of a model year update. It mostly has new software and tech, but they do make a difference. So I hopped into this Ascari blue looker, and would you believe me if I say that I liked it more than the so hyped new RS5? Because that's exactly what happened. And let me tell you why. So, let us do this. Welcome to Auditography. I have been a photo and videographer for the brand for over 20 years. I am a collector of some very unique four-ringed icons myself, and I have also made the viral movie Speak Up for Audi. That led me to even meet the CEO, and many people high up in the company are my friends. The four rings is my lifestyle. Join me here in this new emotional video. The B10 generation Audi S5 was presented in 2024, and it is basically a 7th generation Audi S4. Audi messed up the name by first wanting the electric cars to be even, then reverted on that. But the A5 was already out, so here you go. Just confusion and a headache. But mostly, one of Audi's most iconic model names, the RS4, was sent to the grave after 25 years. The S5 is no longer available either in coupe or cabriolet. It's just the sedan and Avant. This Audi S5 B10 sedan comes with a few subtle updates for the 2027 model year. The biggest change is the addition of Dynamic Plus, bringing a more aggressive rear-biased driving character with controlled oversteer. There is also a new driver display design, a revised steering wheel with more physical controls, an updated MMI interface, and several new driver assistance and convenience features. The updated S5 keeps its 3-liter turbocharged TFSI engine with mild hybrid technology. It pumps out 367 horses and 550 Nm of torque. That is 270 kilowatts, by the way, if that is important to you. The mild hybrid tech gives it additional 24 horses and 18 kilowatts in its electrical assistance. It has a 7-speed dual-clutch gearbox and accelerates to 100 km per hour in just 4.4 seconds. Its top speed is limited to 250 km per hour. And of course, as every S model since 1990, it is powered by Audi's legendary Quattro system. For more than 3 decades, Quattro has remained an essential part of what makes Audi an S. The biggest difference to the previous year model is the way it drives. I mean, the initial S5 B10 was already a great driver's car, but here, with the Dynamic Plus package, it comes really close to the RS5 with the way it throws out its back in the curves. And while mentioning the RS5, I want to tell you something. I had the brand new RS5 Avant for a week, just before this S5. And when I hopped in from the RS5 to the S5, I felt more in touch with the whole car here. I felt it was more responsive, more alive, sounded better, and it didn't feel that much slower than the big brother RS. Also, it surely is faster the first small period of time when it launches. You can still drive the S5 on full electric mode, but not as far as not as quick as the RS5. Anyhow, the S5 made such a great impression on me of how it made me feel. This is surely one of the most fun new Audis to drive. When it comes to the exterior design, I think the B10 overall is one of the best current looking Audis. It still looks like an Audi and no weird generic design like their other new cars. And notice that I said the overall design. because when we get into the details, that's where it gets less exciting. And that's also where you realize that this could have been so freaking good, but then they stripped it of its identity. Take the front badge for example. It doesn't even say S5. Now it's just a generic S. Come on Audi, you can do better than that. Also, isn't it very weird that while their newest S and RS models go back to the iconic Audi Sport font, while this S5 still has the disliked temporary new font. Another obvious thing that I want to point out is by doing it this way. Let me approach with my own Audi A4 B5 Turbo, which by the way I have bought new in January 2001. When we put them side by side, you can really see the proud identity the B5 has with its beautiful classic Audi 3D logos in chrome that we saw all the way until 2023. The new 2D logo is all soulless and looks like the original one fell off. And you can't even get the model definition in the classic silver anymore. Black, black, and black everywhere. Please Audi, bring back your identity. More and more people want the brushed aluminum optics back on the S and RS cars. It makes them stand out more. One thing to really give credit to is the nod to the B5 and the B10 design. The designer of the B10 told this to me himself, that the ducktail part of the trunk of the B10 comes as an inspiration from the B5. Beautiful, isn't it? Also, there have been so many complaints from the new B10 S5 or SQ5 owners that the front brake calipers are an embarrassment. The 2027 has a floating single piston one, while in comparison the B9 had a proper 6-piston brake caliper. Things like that matter. It's great to see proper quad exhaust on here though. No faking anywhere. Last on the exterior, am I the only one that absolutely can't stand these door handles? Ask any normal person to open the door and they will not be able to do that on the first try. Simplify. But as I mentioned before, I really like the overall design of the S5. It really looks good. But it's just a shame that it doesn't differ from the normal A5 enough for it to stand out. The interior of the Audi S5 has some updates compared to the last year's version. They are slightly better, but still far away from Audi's best. Let me dive into that. Gone is the useless instrument cluster from the initial models, and it now is replaced with one that is a bit more normal. But as my father used to say, it's much better, but still very bad. The instrument cluster of all previous generations has been an improvement every single time. The B9, for example, has not only a beautiful cluster, but it was customizable to your needs. This one, not so much. Despite we have everything in the screens, it's mind-boggling that Audi can't design a proper-looking instrument cluster where an Audi driver feels at home. Just as an example, you can't have a speedometer and tachometer next to each other anymore, and there is no model definition in sight. I mean, even a B9 Audi A4 had a beautiful graphics up on start when you saw what you were driving. It's those small details that always mattered and made a difference. Just as the lack of the Quattro badge in the interior. First Audi S model in 36 years to not have that. Despite it would have been so easy to program it in the sleeping mode of the passenger screen. Also, what I have been talking a lot about in my previous videos. The lack of physical climate control buttons takes away so much focus of the driving. Thank goodness they are coming back in the next generation. Maybe in the B10.5 facelift already. The lack of a proper gear shifter also takes away so much emotion of driving. This little nibbler ain't it. The so controversial steering wheel is unfortunately still there. despite the majority of feedback has been that it is the worst looking Audi steering wheel of all time. At least now they put some proper physical scrollers on the still haptic buttons. It's so frustrating sitting inside the S5, which drives so well and looks so good, and yet you feel so numb on the inside of the car. It's such a mess and loss of identity. It could have been so good. At least the seats are beautiful, grip you well, and surely the best part of this interior. The 2027 Audi S5 model year update improves some small things on the car. While it looks really good and handles even better, it sure is irritating that Audi designers and decision makers forgot their identity and history. It's what set them apart from other brands. You pay so much more for an S5 compared to an A5, and yet you can hardly see any difference. And the interior of this car is a complete mess. But hey, or you may be a person that doesn't care about the badges and screens. Then you'll be just fine with the S5. One more thing though, the new RS5 costs 30% more than the S5. And I can guarantee you that you will have just as much fun, if not more, with the smaller brother. Especially since it weighs 400 kilos less. It surely is one of the most fun new Audis to drive today. But as I said, it could have been so good. Thank you for watching.